Hey guys, so today I want to talk about the Fujifilm X Pro 3 with the 18mm f2 lens and why that may be a better fit for you than a Ricoh GR camera. So between the Ricoh GR3 and GR3X and the Fuji X100 series of cameras, I feel like those are two of the most popular affordable street photography cameras out there on the market today. And I feel like the X Pro 3 sometimes doesn't get as much love as it should, to be honest. I think this is a fantastic camera. It's made me fall in love with digital photography again, and having owned a Ricoh GR3 and now owning this kit, this is definitely much better in my opinion, and I wanted to go over some reasons why that is today in case you're on the fence deciding between this camera, a Ricoh, or potentially even another X100 series Fuji. So the first is the viewfinder, guys. Obviously with this we've got the inbuilt hybrid OVF EVF, which is fantastic, same as the X100 series of cameras. I think composing with a viewfinder is invaluable. The Ricoh was fantastic, being so small, you could put it in any position you wanted to with that screen, but not having a folding screen made it harder for waist level shots. Also, having to look at the bright screen in the middle of the day sometimes made it too hard to compose shots in bright sunny conditions. I always prefer a viewfinder, especially an OVF. That's why I love the X Pro series of cameras and the X100, because you obviously have the option to switch between both. But a viewfinder is an invaluable tool, especially for street photography, when sometimes framing and composition can be what makes or breaks the photo. Next is the grip, guys. Now, I've got massive hands, absolutely huge hands. Anyone who's met me knows how big of a person I am. The Ricoh would literally fit within the palm of my hand. Now, the X Pro 3 and any X Pro camera or the X100 series does also fit within my hand, not the palm, but within the majority of my hand. But the grip, we actually have a half decent grip now. It's nothing to write home about, just this little nub we've kind of got here. But when you combine it with the indentation on the back of the camera here, definitely makes it a super comfortable camera to hold compared to the Ricoh. I found, being a big guy, big hands, with the Ricoh I had to kind of do this pinch hold like this. It was very uncomfortable. I mean, yes, the camera was so light that you could hold it like that and it was no issue, but it definitely was not as comfortable as a proper camera grip. And if you're on something that's important to you, then there's no other option. You've got to go with the Fuji. The next is the 28mm field of view and focal length, guys. Now, I have the X Pro 3, like I said, paired up with the 18mm f2. Now, this is a 10-plus-year-old lens, one of Fuji's first lenses. The autofocus isn't great. It is a little bit noisy, but it has an absolutely amazing image quality and rendering to it. It's not the sharpest lens in the shed, but it just has a beautiful color fidelity, and everyone who's used this lens will tell you that it is fantastic in that regard. But again, you've got f2 when you pair it like this, 28mm lens on an APS-C camera with an f2, just to have that extra stop of light when you're in low light situations, because as we know, high ISO performance on APS-C cameras is not as good as full frame, and just being able to get that little bit more shallow depth of field does help if you enjoy that sort of look. Now, this one might be hit or miss for some people, but for me, I definitely found that the autofocus on the X Pro 3 was so much better than the Ricoh GR3. I don't know what it was with the Ricoh, but I just felt like it would hunt. I mean, this lens again, and this is using the 18mm lens. If I were to be using something like the brand new 23 or 33 1.4 WR lenses, it would be even better on this camera. But I feel it's a fair comparison using one of the older Fuji lenses to compare that to the Ricoh. That is pretty fair in my opinion. And I still think the Ricoh would just hunt that little bit extra. It's definitely made a big difference in what's in focus using autofocus on the street, because we both know with both cameras, manual focus isn't really their strong suit. So good quality autofocus is a must, and I think that goes to the Fuji. Now, build quality. Obviously, guys, I have the Dura Black titanium version here of the X Pro 3. Build quality is a no-brainer. The Ricoh is a dinky plastic camera. Yeah, it's lightweight and small. It's fantastic for that. It's what it does best. It's part of its strong suit. But build quality, I know so many, I have come across, I should say, so many subreddits about the scroll wheel of death. People obviously can't use the rear command wheel on their Ricohs anymore. It's broken. I've even seen some where people have commented that the front command wheel has gone on their Ricoh as well. Definitely not a reliable camera. In that sense, from a build point of view, the lens goes in and out, sucks in dust. Build quality has to go to the Fuji. And the last big thing, guys, which is why I prefer the X Pro over the X100, is the ability to change lenses. Now, every kit I have, I always have a 50mm lens. Any camera system I've used, I always have a 50, and I also have a 50 f2, the Fujicon, the 35 f2 for this camera setup as well, because just the ability to change lenses if you want is it's helpful, guys. I mean, people can, write home about having fixed lens camera and they only need the one focal length to work and they can make it work with everything. And that's true, and you can, but you can't tell me that having the ability to change lenses if need be saves you having to buy a whole nother camera system if you are one of those people with the Ricoh or a Fuji X100. So just that ability alone for me is also a massive reason why I love the X Pro 3. So it's not a total win for the X Pro, guys. As you know, the Ricoh is a heralded, beloved street camera for some very, very good reasons. And I want to go over two of the main ones right now. Size and weight, guys. Size and weight. Now, I did comment before about the Ricoh being tiny and dinky and me having to hold it and do like a pinch grip, but still that camera is so small and so inconspicuous, you can put that camera in places that you just can't with any other camera. People think it's a toy, they don't take it seriously, and they manage to miraculously pack in that APS-C sensor into that small body. The camera's strongest suit is being that compact and that small, and if that's important to you, and the ability to sneak in and out or get quick candid shots or fit in your pocket, in any pocket of any piece of clothing, then the Ricoh's obviously going to be your first choice. Second, obviously, price, guys. Now, my X Pro 3, I bought it secondhand, because obviously you can't buy them new anymore. So a secondhand X Pro 3 with 3 batteries, original box, all the stuff. Anyway, X Pro 3 Dura Black cost me 2,000 Australian dollars, plus it cost me another 300 for the 18mm f2 lens, both secondhand. So we're looking at 2,300 Australian dollars versus brand new for a Ricoh GR, you're looking at 1,700-ish if you get it on special, maybe a little bit cheaper. But secondhand, they seem to be going for about the $1,300, $1,400 price, Australian dollar price range. So technically, it's almost about $1,000 difference between the two when buying secondhand. So if you're on a budget, the Ricoh might be the better way to go, or the Ricoh GR3X. But again, I find that a lot of people who have these cameras buy both. They end up buying the GR3 with the 28 equivalent and the GR3X with the 40 equivalent. So by the time you add two of those together, it is cheaper to go with an X Pro or X Pro 3, for instance, and a couple of lenses will probably work out cheaper in that regard. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video gave you some clarity between the two cameras if you're on the fence about which one to choose. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.